to the Village of Washingtonville regular meeting. Today, Tuesday, July 19th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Today is July 19th, regular meeting. If anyone needs an agenda, they're up on the front table here. Just a few announcements. Bull Road, as you know, is open. Please be careful driving on Bull Road. There have been a lot of reports of people exceeding the speed limit. We are preparing a newsletter that will be going out with the water bills. Our water bills are set to go out at the end of this month. Route 94 is completed. However, Ahern is still closed, and it will probably be closed for an additional 2 to 3 weeks. There were some unforeseen problems that Orange and Rockland did not catch over the past 6 years. We are watching our water levels very closely. As you know, hasn't been raining as much as we would like it to be. I will be meeting with the architects regarding the progress of this building and moving the police department into this building, hopefully by year end. I will have a better update at our next meeting, which is Monday, August 1st. At that meeting, we're also going to be discussing rezoning of a farm that surrounds the old Spear building. So anybody want to add this? Okay, new business. This is, like I said, a public meeting. Public comments on the agenda items will be heard after we are finished with the agenda. Trustee Lodato, Washingtonville Central School District.
I have a facility use request form from Washingtonville High School's varsity swim and dive team for a car wash fundraiser on Sunday, July 31st, with a rain date of Sunday, August 21st, from 10 to 2 p.m. And this would be at Memorial Park in the parking lot, since we have the well water over there. If I can get approval for this.
Second. Roll call. Trustee Kolar.
Yes.
Trustee Sampson.
Yes.
Trustee Kolar.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Lodato. Bucko. Okay, we're going to jump around, okay, because I see a lot of people are here for probably letter B. So, jump around to rehire of Vincent Beal, part-time police officer. Chief, if you just want to add to that,
He recently,
greatly appreciate it.
he's been with us for 20 years, recently retired from his full-time position as a principal at Minnesota. So we had to take a leave of absence from this job. He's going through the background, the psychological and the medical, which are all, he's got clearance for everything. So it was our understanding, our intention to rehire him once the state gave us approval with his leave of absence. So we're at that point.
Make a motion? Need a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Trustee Sampson. Roll call. Trustee Kolar.
Yes.
Trustee Sampson.
Yes.
Trustee Kolar.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Lodato.
Yes.
Mayor Bucko, yes. He's ready to go.
Just has to get sworn in. I'll touch base with Christine during the week and have him meet with her.
Okay, great. Agreement with Christopher Martino, Superintendent of Village DPW. Last meeting, we agreed on a salary of $68,140.80. Trustee Kolar. Trustee Sampson. Roll call. Trustee Kolar.
Yes.
Trustee Sampson?
Yes.
Trustee Kolar?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Madado?
Yes.
Yes. Letter E, agreement with John Terry, full-time building inspector, pending the result coming back from civil service. Okay. We agreed on a salary of $56,804.80 yearly salary. Someone want to make a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Kolar. Roll call, trustee Kolar,
Yes.
trustee Sampson,
Yes.
trustee Kolar,
Yes.
deputy mayor Madado.
Yes.
Okay, zoning board, planning board updates, trustees.
So at this point, there are no items before the zoning board at this time. For the planning board, the next scheduled meeting is Tuesday, July 26th at 7 p.m. And it's a regular meeting. And then there will be a public hearing and work session on Tuesday, August 9th at 7 p.m., all right here in Village Hall.
Okay. Moving along. Village parks and fields.
So several, I guess, weeks ago, we had a non-resident, a non-Village of Washingtonville resident, non-town resident, request to use Bird Allen Park. And we had kind of mentioned that when the person put in the request, they were surprised that we didn't have a facilities use charge, unlike other parks. So we mentioned as a group at one of our meetings that we would come back to that. So I'd like to come back to that and finish that discussion on, are we going to charge for usage of our parks? Non-residents, residents, we don't pay taxes, so I wouldn't look at that, but just to have a discussion on, are we going to charge non-residents? Because, we're maintaining the parks, the bags, to clean, the garbage up, will wear and tear. And I believe it was 100 people, 150. So I think it is a bit worthy to come up with a decision on what we can do.
Well, the town is doing this, correct? The town is looking into charging for fields and
Yes.
such.
Are we looking to charge everyone?
I don't know, I spoke with Councilwoman or Councilperson Acevedo, so they're entering into discussions as well. So currently, when someone fills out the facilities usage form, there's no fees. But if you go to other municipalities like Goshen, there's a whole fee schedule well, their facilities are different, but they're, if you're a resident or non-resident, depends on if you're commercial or non-commercial. If you look at Hamptonburg, if you're a resident, non-resident, if you're using the kitchen and their pavilion there's an extra fee. Newburgh has a lot of fields, but they even charge for use of parking. So there's a whole schedule of fees I can share with you.
Do you know how many municipalities charge because the organization is making money as opposed to just people who want to use the park?
I don't know what they decided or how they decided, but I can tell you that, for example, some will say, I'll pull my papers and show my age. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so like for example, Goshen, it even goes on attendance. If it's under 100, it's one rate. If it's 101 to 300, there's another rate associated. And then there's a resident fee, a non-resident fee, and then there's a Goshen, non-Goshen. In Hamptonburg, there is a deposit of $100 for security. Without the kitchen, if you're using that pavilion, and it holds up to 150 people, without the kitchen, it's $75. For non-residents, it's 150 non-residents for business and groups. With the kitchen, there's another fee. Let's see what else. Yep, they even charge for their ball field. So theirs is $40 per use, which is 2.5-hour increments. Local service organizations, no fee, like fire department or town. They talk about insurance. The city of Newburgh they've got a lot. So
I know the Orange County Parks charge.
They do as well. And there's so like the city of Newburgh, let's say for a sporting event, if it's a city team, it's $25 a game. If it's an adult team, it's $60 a game. If there's a non-city of Newburgh team, it's $75 per game or $100 per night. Doubleheader is $150. Do you know doubleheader? Yeah, I guess you do. It's overtime, I'm thinking of, okay. What happens when you have overtime? $250 for half a day or $500 for a full day. And there's different, they have the Delano Hitchfield, the baseball and softball diamonds, football and soccer fields, and they're all different. So I can share this with you. But I think that we need to, in the event that someone else comes up, to say, hey, I want to use your amount of residents of the village or the town. What do you charge me? This way we will have the answer. I think it's important for us to be prepared. So I can share this with y'all.
So with this, you're saying Little League,
Well, that will be up to us to decide, do we or don't. You
I
know?
can't see joining them.
No, and you
I
can
think that's
decide.
just
It's our
another
residents.
tax on residents.
Right, absolutely, because they're residents and they're paying taxes. But if we're looking at stuff, so we can decide, no, go ahead.
I agree, but I think something like travel, softball, that they come from Newburgh to play here, they come from New Windsor to play here, I think that should be.
Wait, are they playing our teams here or are they
No.
using our facilities?
Sometimes they're not even our kids that use our facilities.
I know at the end, like this time of year, Little League would have all-star games, and it might not be a Washingtonville team, however, it's a round robin. So I think we have to do a lot more research on this.
Can we start with layering, like we start with non-residents who want to use it for like a family, it was a family reunion or something, right? Right. Something like, we start with that and then do our homework on the, you know, I don't think we should charge
Well, I
them.
think non-residents using our parks, there's something, you know, hello, why don't you go to your own town?
Well, because it was too expensive, right? Where's the coverage?
So they come to here because it's free.
Right. And it's, our taxpayers are paying to clean the park. It's not fair to put the burden on the village of Washington.
If that would happen, would they have to have insurance, would they?
Right, if they're using a facilities request form, then they have to have a rider, a private entity, or it's an organization or company, their insurance.
So it's basically outside residents.
Right, we can decide, whatever, you know.
Because Knights of Columbus, they put them back into.
Right, and that could be a thing, like, you know, Knights, we're not gonna charge, but they're always giving back to the community, you know.
It would be the same with Lions and Kiwanis.
And they're all residents, so.
But it was.
Going to that, along those lines, I think, like, no offense, I know people like it, but the yoga in the park, that's a business running in the park, that should be a fee.
So instead of making them pay per, like, one of those said here, $25 for the year or something.
For the season, yeah, it's usually season, for the summer months.
And how does, for the farmer's market, they pay a fee to the community events,
Right,
which comes back to the community anyway.
comes back to the community and they're under the village.
So that would.
Right, because
Well,
they're part of
they're paying community events, but we don't charge the community events committee.
No, because they're our committee.
Right.
Right, so it's like charging DPW to.
Well, that's one.
Yeah.
Maybe we get a, like a little subcommittee going?
I definitely want to address the non-resident.
Yeah, maybe we need.
Well, that's a good idea, because if it comes up again, at least we know.
At least we have an answer.
No resident is outside the village of Washington.
Whatever you decide.
Because we had a situation with the dog park. I live in Washingtonville.
Oh, I see what you mean. They have a
But
Washington.
do you pay
Express.
taxes in March? No, then you don't live in the village of Washington.
Right,
We-
village
Village
residents.
Downtown, unfortunately. But, you know, that was a pretty good ride we were on for a while. All right, so we need to do more research on this.
When is this event happening or proposed?
Well, it was supposed to happen, they actually backed out.
Okay.
She couldn't get the insurance, so. And I didn't really ask anything further. I don't know if it canceled or if she had something else. But we figured instead of waiting for something to come up again,
Let's have an answer.
you know, I really didn't have any answers this time, because it's never happened.
So do we want a committee of residents to work on this with us?
We could.
Yeah.
Yeah, now as far as
Some girl jumped in.
little, yeah, well, don't raise your hands right now, running up.
Didn't hear what
Just-
you were saying.
Are we looking for a committee of residents to help come up with the policy for facilities usage? Did I see? Yes, I did. I know you want to work with me. Trust me.
It's
Yes.
not my phone, I swear.
She's trying to say, saved by the bell.
Now, getting to
Yeah.
the use of Woodfield, there's only one field that the village has. Little League softball uses the field. I don't see charging. However, there is a concession stand there. I don't believe it should be a burden of village taxpayers to be paying the electric bill for their freezers and refrigerators. By the way, we have never charged Little League anything to play at Woodfield. Regardless of what you might have heard through the years, we don't charge Little League anything. Actually, Little League accepted a donation for the electric bill that this one individual thought Little League was paying for. Little League did not pay, and the money was never returned to that one individual.
Was that recently?
2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
So when we mentioned it, it was like, okay, so they beat me for, I think it was $500, could be $800. They beat him for something. And it was wrong on all parts. So the village does not charge Little League.
We talked about it, but we never sent it, we
Yes.
never did it.
Anyone is interested, please let us know.
In coaching Little, in coaching.
No, 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 serve on a committee, you know, to come up with a fee schedule.
Okay.
Could you share what you found with us?
Sure.
And we'll,
Yeah, I'll.
maybe if there's no committee, we'll collaborate.
Okay, perfect, I'll send you, I have the documents.
Something.
Okay, a couple of things happened since the printing of our agenda. One of them was Anna's Gourmet Catering and Meal Prep Company. It's the building behind Orange County Bagel. To approve a sign similar to what we've already approved on the front of the building of Orange County Bagel. So, you'll see here, that's, what's that? Yeah.
It's the old Joe's video.
It's the old Joe's Video became an ice cream place.
And then
Before that, I know
before
that
that was ice cream.
cheesecake got there, opened at 10:30 that one morning. Never forget, I was in line. It was me in the door. So someone want to make a motion. It's the same material, it's the same colors.
I'll second.
So trustee Ford made the motion, deputy made the second. Roll call, trustee Kolar?
Yes.
Trustee Sampson?
Yes.
Trustee Kolar?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Madonna?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Again, since the preparation of the agenda, always has agenda subject to change. We have met with Orange County Bagel. There's a few items on the site plan that need to be addressed. We've accepted, well, someone would like to make a motion to accept a cash escrow in the amount of $38,600, which will take care of everything that's on the site plan. If something has changed from the site plan, like parking, feels that they might need one less spot that already is there, they will be appearing in front of the Orange County, I'm sorry, Washingtonville Planning Board.
And that 38,000 plus takes care of everything.
Should cover everything.
6 items,
Okay.
actually it's down to 5.
So I need a motion to accept a cash escrow in the amount of $38,600 representing the cost of completion for certain outstanding improvements pursuant to the site plan approval of OCBW Properties, LLC, and the property and the project at 32 West Main Street. The posting of said escrow shall be for the purpose of considering the issuance of the temporary CO or temporary certificate of occupancy, all of which shall be subject to final approval by the village attorney. Trustee Kolar, motion, second.
This will allow
This will allow them to open. There's some paperwork that has to be finalized on Thursday, so we're looking at possible opening, hopefully, on Friday. So anybody that has a bagel fix, hopefully it will be met on Friday. So, Trustee Kolar made the motion, Deputy Lodato seconded. Roll call, Trustee Kolar,
Yes.
Trustee Sampson,
Yes.
Trustee Kolar,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Lodato.
Yes.
Okay, getting back to the agenda, we're running into a lot of situations with mother-daughter homes. And I know Building Inspector John Terry has been working very closely with Stephanie Turnick, our attorney out of Will Frank's office. What dictates a mother-daughter? Now, technically, there's no such definition in a code of a mother-daughter. So it's coming down to the second cooking, second kitchen. This board has to make a decision, not tonight. What do we want to do moving forward if we want to allow that? And times have changed where people, kids are moving back home, usually with a spouse and a dog. But under no circumstances are they able to rent out the unit for income. So in your, according to Article 4, R100 district, permitted usage, it really comes down to the kitchen unit. Now, what's the kitchen unit? It could be the stove. Some residences have kitchens in them, and now they're starting to sell their home. You know, I mentioned a few months ago that we had 300 open building permits in the village. Permits not closed out, well, they're starting to be closed out as people are starting to sell their homes. We're finding that they did things without permits, and it's putting a burden really on our building department, because they have to go out there and walk through the house. And they really, I believe, have the authority to say remove the wall, but I don't think we're going to get there. So it's putting a lot of burden on our building department. That being said, we have a lot of, well, getting off of this. So I think we have our work to do on this, how we want to proceed, how we want to see the village proceed. And a second unit, kitchen, we do have some that come up with a affidavit. Previous boards had allowed them to do this, but it wasn't, you couldn't sell your house with that. Okay, and people are now listing a mother-daughter house, a two-family house, in a one-family zone. So I see all of this really coming back to the zoning board to allow a two-family home. A mother-daughter with a second kitchen, to me, is a two-family home, but that's me. I don't know how everyone else feels like it.
So, I have a question. So the R100 district, right, it says family. One or more persons living as a single housekeeping unit and using cooking facilities at certain rooms in common as a non-profit, keyword non-profit, household. A family shall not be deemed to include the occupants of a boarding, a rooming house, a residential club, or a hotel. So am I interpreting it right, that you're using one kitchen, right? So these are zoned as single kitchens.
Single kitchens, right.
So it's a question.
Previous boards had allowed these homes, and we have a few that have actually been built, okay?
But then what happens is people say, I signed an affidavit, I won't have anybody renting it out or
Right.
whatever. And then what happens? Do we go in and inspect them, or can we go in and inspect them afterwards?
I believe we can, but again,
Well,
that's
we don't
putting a
have
burden-
time.
We don't.
300 open, I say nip it in the bud, the answer is, you know what I mean? You
Well,
want it-
it's a discussion that, you know.
We can discuss it now.
No, I appreciate that, I think I'm in agreement.
Okay.
with what you're saying, but so now
Yeah.
there's two, so now there's
There you
three.
go. So, easy, done.
Nothing.
Done. You know, I feel like the longer you drag it out, the
But I
more
think
people
we
are
would
gonna
have
come
to-
forward, let's nip it in the bud and get it over and done.
So, well, tell me the scenario, for example, let's say you said there's been builders who've built these mother-daughters with two
Yes.
kitchens. So, and these are the people who are trying to sell that. So what's the remedy for that? To remove the stove? Is that what makes it a kitchen?
That's legally what it means, right? John, you might want to jump
Yeah,
in.
if I may,
John Terry's our building official, code enforcer.
that's me. Hi, everybody. There's different scenarios with the mother-daughters. For example, you can have a raised ranch, bi-level, and some mother-daughters are the entire lower floor as a separate unit, which then allows you to go into the alligator stairs, we call them, and you can lock the door upstairs, downstairs. It becomes almost legitimately a two-family house. Then you have others where you have to walk through the entire house to go upstairs and find a little cubby kitchen or something. So there's different scenarios that we're looking at here. But most of the certificates that were signed by the homeowners who have done this or had buildings that were built like this do not allow you to sell the building that way. Because if you sell it that way, you lose your certificate of occupancy, and that's what they've signed for. And some people have done that, and they don't even realize they no longer have a certificate of occupancy for the building. So that's basically where we're standing. Technically, like in an R100 zone or district, it says, which they have up there, that a single family is with one kitchen or one commonly used area for everybody within the household. But then again, there's another stipulation in the zoning that says, which everybody shall share. But what happens is sometimes these places are blocked off where the mother-in-law or someone doesn't want to get involved with the rest of the family. They have a completely separate living unit. Right now, I'm actually waiting for an interpretation more clearly written from our attorney to make this absolutely clear. So when we come across these, we have a situation which is even more easily resolved. So I'm waiting on our attorney to get back to us.
All right, John, my question is,
Yes.
how do they remedy it?
Well, that's what I'm waiting for. In some towns and villages, because I've worked for a lot of different towns and villages, they'll just simply remove the stove. That's part of the preparation area that our code talks about. The problem with that is they'll take the stove, they'll put it in the garage, and as soon as we turn around and leave, the stove goes right back where it was before. So we're trying to probably, I think in Blooming Grove, I heard, and I don't know if this is true, in Blooming Grove, they actually remove cabinetry and everything, so it doesn't look anything at all like a kitchen. What I've been doing in the past, I've been letting them take out the stove and we turn it into a pantry. But again, usually you turn around, you leave, the stove goes right back in there again. So again, I'm waiting for an interpretation from our attorney who is currently in court, swamped with work to do, including the decisive for Orange County Bagel. So it might take a little while, but we will come up with a resolution eventually. And that's pretty much it. We have to find out what we want to do.
Now, that doesn't prohibit the resident to apply to the zoning
No.
for a two-family home in a one-family zone. It's not the end of the argument. So if we agree that this is how this board would like to see the village move forward, they still have the opportunity to go up in front of the zoning. Now, one kitchen means one kitchen. Okay, it doesn't have a separate kitchen off to the side for whatever reasons. It's one kitchen. So that's where we are. So I hear that we need legal too. We don't want to do anything
No,
without
I agree.
the attorneys being informed on this. Which brings,
So may I say one more thing?
sure.
We had a meeting earlier, I forget what it exactly was, but there was a concern raised that if we allowed this and we didn't have any specific rules on it, that someday, we could look down at this one family district and you'll see so many cars and so many places and people, and it just becomes a mess. And I had said during the meeting, so someday they're gonna say to us, how could you let this happen? So we had a discussion on that, and the whole idea behind it is to save the character of these neighborhoods. That's all I wanted to say.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. Which brings us to something on the announcements. Now, we've been getting a lot of FOIL requests, okay, and the way the FOIL requests are, the law behind it, we have to acknowledge the request within 5 days. They have to be notified. And then we have 30 days to prepare that FOIL request. It's 25 cents per page, but also the fee for the person preparing the request. So, for the time of the report. It's business days, yes, thank you. So, feel free to FOIL. Just takes a lot of time from all of us, and that's okay. We have to. Okay. We'll move up to 3B. Anybody else have something that you want to add to the agenda? Okay. Kiwanis Flags for Heroes. Mayor Bucko, Trustee Kalor, Trustee Kalor. I'm sorry, Ladada. Reading it right here, Trustee Kalor. It's
Kolar.
It's,
Kolar, Kolar.
yeah, but I'm reading here, it says Trustee Ladada, right here. Okay. But it's gonna rain.
I have a facility use request form from the Kiwanis Club of Washingtonville for Flags for Heroes. This was sent in by Betty Ann Van Leeuwen. They would like to set up August 20th. I have that going on here.
Not the 26th.
No, and remove in August 20th through October 1st. And the Flags for Heroes ceremony would be Saturday, August 27th at 11 a.m. And this is at Memorial Park.
This is what they did last year.
Yes, this will be their second year. It's a fundraiser for Kiwanis. It's called Flags for Heroes. August 20th through October 1st.
Remove it.
Yeah, on or about, depending on the weather, yes.
Make a motion?
Second.
Motion made by Trustee Kalor. Second, Ladada. Roll call. Trustee Kalor,
Yes.
Trustee Sampson,
Yes.
Trustee Kolar,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Lodano,
Yes.
Mayor Bucko. Yes. Okay. You will notify then